Dr. Johnston, hello. It's really good to have this opportunity to discuss a bit with you issues regarding sustainable development. What are your views on some of the main topics in the area of sustainability? The first question for you is, do you think that the austerity policies and other conditions imposed by the Memorandum of Understanding with the Troika of international lenders are undermining the progress made in the pre-crisis years in the framework of the European Union environmental policy?
Well, firstly, let me say that I'm delighted to be here in Greece, and I've always enjoyed my visit to Greece, and I'm particularly pleased to be here in the International Hellenic University, and I'm grateful for their invitation to help celebrate the honorary doctorate for Professor Rademacher. So it's a pleasure to be here. On this question, I'm fully aware that the austerity measures are presenting enormous difficulties in Greece. But I think we mustn't misunderstand the achievements of environmental policy at the European level. Environmental policies have covered a wide range of activities, and we've achieved enormous improvements in the quality of the environment in Europe over the years. But this does not depend on a continued high level of public expenditure. Much of environmental policy has been achieved at very little cost to the taxpayers and to governments by tighter regulations on the chemicals that can be used in the environment, by phasing out the toxic materials in electronic products and goods. And much of this it will stay with us. This is not put at risk by the austerity measures currently in place.
Excellent. Another question again about Greece and the crisis. Do you think that Greece could use the crisis as an opportunity to increase public spending on green investment and increase the natural capital?
Well, I'm sure that there is a need to increase investment in the green growth opportunities in Greece. But this needn't necessarily come from an increase in public expenditure. There are enormous opportunities now for better exploiting the renewable energy resources in Greece. You have enormous abundant supplies of both wind power and solar energy, and these are not yet widely exploited. Clearly it needs enormous investment in Greece, and for that we must rebuild confidence that Greece is in fact an attractive and good place to invest. And this will be of benefit both to the Greek economy and Greek employment, and to Europe as a whole.
Now, in times of globalization, democracy, individual rights, wealth and social balance in some kind of threat, do you think that we should feel confident about the prospects of the world as we knew it, and as is now is challenged by both the globalization effects and the international financial crisis?
Well, we all need to change, not just in Greece. All countries in Europe face some years of change that we perhaps put off for too long, but is increasingly necessary. Globalization of the trade environment is with us and will stay with us. It's very difficult to see that this will be rolled back in the next years. But we can learn to manage this. All global trade has to work by rules. And we have increasingly effective rules, most recently in terms of the regulations on financial services and the banking sector, which clearly needed to be reinforced following the crisis. Progress has been made there, both at the global level and at the European level, and I think this will help to stabilize all our economic environments, including in Greece, and will make Greece again an attractive and a competitive place to do business and to work and to live.
Okay. What values are ahead for the future if we don't properly adapt to the principles of sustainable development?
Well, the dangers are that we will have continued instabilities in both the financial system, social instabilities where people feel that they're not being fairly treated. We risk climate instabilities if we don't deal effectively with the continuing risks associated with climate change. So the purpose of sustainable development is precisely to reduce these instabilities in the future, to make life more predictable, to allow an environment in which innovation can make us all better off and live more productive and healthier lives. And the opportunities are there, but we must grasp these opportunities through change and innovation.
Could you give us a few examples of fiscal actions to achieve sustainable growth while improving equity and balancing Greece's finances?
Well, I think balancing finances always means balancing the tax revenues with public expenditure. And an enormous amount has already been done in Greece on that. One of the fundamental rules of taxation is that this should be seen to be fair, and it should be seen to be a burden that is equally shared by everybody in society, and that tax revenues are then efficiently used for the public good. There clearly is still progress that needs to be made in these areas. I think as a general rule, a shift of the tax burden from employment taxes onto taxes on scarce resources is the long-term shift that we all need to make. Resources like energy resources do need to be taxed fairly. We need to use energy much more efficiently, and if it's more expensive, we will do so. So a shift of the tax burden onto resource use is probably one of the best ways to ease this transition.
Well, in the last decades, or maybe in the last few years, problems all over the world have become increasingly more visible as global problems. So do you think that the level of reaction should be on the national or the international level? And especially on the international level, is there a global governance mechanism to be able to handle these problems?
We have seen the emergence of the G20 grouping as a more effective coordination framework for global issues, particularly in the financial area. We're fortunate in Europe that we have the framework of the European Union that provides us with the ability to act as a whole in Europe and to be a more powerful player in world affairs than we would separately be if we were simply nation states. But democracy lies at the heart of the nation state, and I think it will remain there. This is the dominant political framework that we have in Europe, and I think it will remain to be the dominant political framework. The European institutions themselves, and particularly the European Parliament, has become more influential over the years and now better reflects people's interests in the European issues. I think we always have to find the right balance between the national democratic processes, the European processes that increasingly become more democratic, and the influence that we can then bring to bear in the world affairs.
So, in line with Sustainable Development's triple bottom line, how feasible do you think it is for a country like Greece to achieve the goal of national sovereignty and democracy while participating in equal terms in the economic globalization process?
Well, the triple bottom line is that we must achieve a sustainable economy. That means we must be competitive in the world environment. We must have a sustainable social structure, so we must carry everybody with us, and people must feel that society is a fair society in which they can achieve their own goals. But we must do this by protecting the environment, otherwise we will all be at risk from a degraded environment. And I think this is just as important in Greece as it is in other countries, perhaps more important at the moment where the social dimension is absolutely crucial, that you have to carry the Greek people with you in your reforms.
So, our last question is, since last year the International University is offering an MSc in Sustainable Development, do you think that offering such a program of studies on a postgraduate level, is it some kind of a luxury, or it might be even a tool for helping the country to get out of the crisis?
It's absolutely essential. We all need to take a broader view of development these days. We need to make sure that we have the social, the environmental and the economic aspects in mind. I would like to see sustainable development in all university courses. So it's a very important pioneering initiative here that we have this specific MSc course in sustainable development, and I hope it will grow and be replicated elsewhere.
So thank you, Dr. Johnston. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and we're hoping to have the opportunity to discuss again with you in the future.
I hope so, and I look forward to my next visit to Greece. Thank you.